All right. What's up, people? It is SCG Weekly, episode 138, and we're covering Trigon today. This is a 1990 Konami vertical shooter released around the same time as Raiden, and it's got an alternate title called Lightning Fighters as well. And this is an arcade-only shoot 'em up, and we'll be looking at 2-all replay of this by Perikles, and also maybe checking out some 2-player footage as well. And yeah, it's a pretty long game. It's an hour long, so we're going to get to the replay pretty quick here. But our guest for this episode is Emuser. What's up, Emuser?
Good to be here. Thanks for having me again.
Always good. And then co-hosted by Maximo. And what's up, Max?
Yo, what's up, everybody?
Alright, so yeah, Trigon. Why do you start playing it, Emuser?
Well, I actually played it a very, very long time ago when I was little. But, I don't know, one day I was stumbling upon, as Lightning Fighters, like, ages ago when I was a kid.
In the arcade? In
the arcade, yeah.
Nice.
I had a friend that I used to play at co-op with, and one day I actually stumbled upon it in, just randomly years later. And I picked it up and decided to finish the game eventually.
Okay, sweet. So you kind of want to revisit it, and turned out it was pretty fun to do.
Yeah, it was kind of hard to explain. Sometimes it's really hard to explain the appeal behind Trigon, because when you look at it, it's pretty straightforward. Like, there's no complicated scoring system. The entire ship is your hitbox, for example. So if a bullet as much as scrapes you, you'll get hit. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of against the norms of what shooting games have become since it first came out. Mm-hmm. But it's something that's really just challenging. Like, when you want a game that's difficult and challenging, that doesn't have like scoring aspects that some people might be turned off by, then, you know, it definitely works if someone's looking for, you know, a game focused on survival.
Sweet. So a pretty traditional style game. I mean, it is compared to Raiden in the Wikipedia. So, like, what do you think about that comparison? Like, how similar is it to Raiden?
So Trigon came first in May 1990.
Okay.
And Raiden came a few months later in September 1990. But to be quite honest, there is a fair reason why they are compared, because in Raiden 1, there was the Vulcan spread shot and the laser, the wide shot and the focus shot, of course. In Trigon, the equivalent is the spread shot and the Vulcan shot, which function exactly the same as the first two weapons mentioned in Raiden. Mm-hmm. So they don't look too similar. Like, at the time, in my opinion, I believe that Trigon looked pretty impressive for its time. It's just that Raiden looked more appealing and had crazier effects. So once Raiden came out in the arcades, I think it kind of knocked Trigon into oblivion.
Yeah.
And as a result, Trigon never got any release outside of the arcade port. And for years, it's only been referenced randomly across other Konami games, like Gradius Gaiden, I think.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I think there's an enemy that uses a lightning sword.
Yeah, that's one of the bosses in the boss rush, but I forget what its name is.
Right. Also in Yu-Gi-Oh! As well. Yu-Gi-Oh! Makes references to Gradius enemies, but also a few Trigon things too.
So it seems like Konami had a little soft spot for this game that released as alongside Raiden, but maybe they're a little butthurt about that Raiden had the success and Trigon didn't or something. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, I think both games are like modeled after like toe plant stuff, which is probably why, you know, the weapon systems for the standard weapons are similar.
Right. Yeah. I did find it puzzling, though, how both Raiden and Trigon only have 2 main weapons, where most toe plan games have 3 or maybe 4 weapons.
Maybe they just want to make it like simpler for the player to pick up, and then just have other mechanics that might make it more depth.
That's possible. We may never know nowadays, though.
Yeah, unless interviews just pop up.
Yeah.
Because the current interviews do not shed that much light about that situation.
All right, well, I think we can get started on the replay here. It is an hour-long replay, so we got plenty of time to talk about the game. So why don't we just queue it up and get ready to go here?
Yeah.
Alrighty.
All right. I'm gonna do a countdown on go. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right.
Sweet.
So, I don't know much of the story behind this game, but the very least that I could find searching all over the internet is basically this black ship lands on the planet, and 2 fighters launch to defend their home world against it, and all that comes of it. That's pretty much any plot you'll find in this game. And for anyone that may not have noticed, the building at the bottom was actually the Konami logo before it set sail.
What?
Nice.
Like the legs logo?
The Konami logo. You can get a peek at it when the second loop starts.
Okay.
So the player just picked up the Vulcan here, and it's a rapid-fire forward-only shot. For the longest time I had been playing this game, I wasn't aware of a special exploit, I guess you would call it. Because normally, depending on how powered up your Vulcan is, you can only shoot a certain number of bullets, and I believe it's like 8 at lower levels. While the spread is, for example, is limited to 3 shots on screen at a time. But there's a special thing you can do that kind of breaks the game in a way. But not exactly, because you have to not die the whole time. If you pick up a Vulcan, have enough bullets on screen before you pick up the spread, and continue to fire at an optimal rate, your spread will clearly be shooting more than 3 shots at a time.
Huh. So what's the most optimal power level to be at in that case?
Level 2. 1 being your standard pea shooter you spawn with.
Okay.
So for survival, you want to just get 1 pickup, and that's it. But if you switch weapon types, then your power level won't rise.
Mm-hmm. I got it.
But I'll explain why after this boss, actually.
This guy is pretty easy, I think. Oh, it doesn't actually use, like, any bombs there. So what I see, like, a lot of bosses that, like, players will just use, like, 1 or 2 bombs just to make it much easier to deal with, especially as, like, rank increases.
Right. So every bomb in this game will alternate between being a dragon laser or a lightning sword. A lightning sword doesn't last as long, but it grants the player almost full invincibility to most things. While a dragon laser doesn't protect the player as much, it's a lot more powerful. So in this game, there's no bonus for having excess bombs. Like if you try to pick up a 7th bomb, nothing happens. So people will just bomb pretty liberally because this game gets kind of bonkers.
Yeah, and I think there's some boss strategies that play into, like, your bomb choice. I think the 4th boss in particular.
The 4th boss and its variants, definitely. When you're playing this game, regardless of if you're playing for score or for survival, you always want to have your first 2 bombs you ever pick up be lightning swords. Your plan is to carry them through the entire loop so that you use these lightning swords near the end of the game.
Okay.
The problem is you just can't die or you're going to lose all your bombs.
Yeah, I learned the hard way. I played this the other day.
For those not aware, yeah, it is. Trigon and Lightning Fighters, you mentioned earlier. Trigon's the Japanese version of this game, while Lightning Fighters is the US version. The main difference between them is that Lightning Fighters has no checkpoints, and you always spawn with a lightning sword. So it's more forgiving for beating the game, and you won't just be mega wrecked because you'll spawn with at least one bomb. But in Trigon, when you die, you respawn with no bombs, your powers reset, and
What the hell?
yeah, it's pretty brutal.
That's Konami bullshit for you.
Yeah. I'll get to another note in a minute, actually, because there's more differences, but specifically on the note of Konami US ports. I don't know what the deal was with Konami, but they did not like the US. Like, they did not like the Western side of the world for some reason.
In terms of making their games more difficult? Is that what you're saying?
Sort of, but not in a way that I think most of us would agree with. I'll mention it before we see it on screen, but when you play Trigon single player, you'll run into an item that acts as a heat-seeking kind of weapon that tracks onto enemies. And the name of this thing is called the Trigon weapon. But for some unexplained reason in the US version, they decided to cut the Trigon weapon entirely from single player. And it's just why? Why would they do that?
That is really strange.
We will never know.
Well, I mean, they can't. I guess they couldn't call it Trigon if they took the Trigon out, right?
Exactly. But the Trigon is still available in co-op. So
Okay.
That's
yeah.
That's so
Co-op
weird.
between the two versions is not different in any way, so they're identical.
Huh. That's
Very
pretty
weird.
odd.
Yep.
Alright, so you got like this option thingy. What's going on with that?
That's the Trigon weapon.
Oh, it is.
Yep.
It's like different types you can get, I think.
In co-op, yes.
So
in
is-
single player, you only have this one type.
So is that
Oh,
a
I see.
sub weapon with your regular weapon then, or the
It's
Trigon?
a weapon that acts independently. It'll track onto any enemies on screen when it can.
Does your regular power up? Is it separate from the Trigon then? Your regular
Yep.
shot? Okay.
Yeah, your main weapon is independent of the
Huh.
Trigon.
So it's like a supplement. Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely like its own thing. So
Does it block bullets or anything cool like that?
no,
Okay. You're seeing the
Yeah,
bomb right
it-
in there.
it's just an extra thing that you get to keep with you as long as you live.
So, what's your active bomb right now? Is it the one on the far right? Yeah, it must be.
So that's a good question, actually. So you'll notice at the bottom of the screen that he has different types of bombs already. So the way that it'll use bombs is in the order, I believe, is first in, first out. Wait, last in, first out. I forget what the term is exactly, but it goes in order of the most recent bombs you picked up.
Yeah.
So the best way while reading it while playing the game is to look at your bomb lineup and go right to left. That's the order of the bombs that'll be used. So if he does bomb 3 times, he'll use his 2 dragon lasers first and then a lightning sword. But
Okay. Interesting.
back to one thing that we were talking about in one of the earlier stages, concerning why Perikles is still powered down the whole time. So Konami and all of their glorious reasonings for making games harder without us realizing it, for some unexplained reason, well, I'll just put it this way. Normally when you power up in a video game, what happens to your ship?
You get more powerful.
Right. Trigon throws that rule out and says, no, that's not how this game works. So when you are powering up, I put that, I'll say with quotes around that, powering up, your ship won't really get any stronger. You do get wider shots or increased rate of fires to kill small enemies with more easily, but the health of bigger enemies is tied to rank, and rank is equal to your power level.
Oh man. So yeah, it sounds like a net loss there
Right.
when you power up.
And the more you power up spread, the less it can fire on screen at a time. So essentially, you get weaker.
That's a pretty cruel money-making scheme.
Yeah.
So that's basically what that is, right?
Pretty much. Like, there's no good explained reason why this would be a thing. But, you basically get... Well, the enemies basically get more health, they shoot more frequently, and their bullets move faster.
I mean, it's kind of a smart money-making scheme.
It is, because most people playing the game normally would have no idea of this, so they'll just be collecting things as they go.
They'd have to be pretty perceptive to find out that you want to stay low power after like so many credits, I'd imagine. Like, did you ever notice that? Like, when did you notice that, or did you read about it, or how did you find out?
I think after a while, I was just kind of getting frustrated with how slow the spread weapon fires at higher levels.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to stick to a lower spread at some point, and then I realized that it actually kills things more quickly.
Interesting, cool.
So that was when I first started making real progress getting into the second loop.
Interesting. So did he use the Dragon Sword there just for damage, or you said you get invincibility, but was that dangerous? I couldn't tell.
Oh, So I was thinking about explaining it because I've seen it so many times that I wasn't thinking about it. But the fourth boss, that enemy, you see 3 times throughout the game. And it is the only enemy in the game that can actually kill a dragon laser.
With its purple laser.
So it shoots a purple laser.
Man.
And if you try to summon a dragon laser, if there's one out, if you do anything at all and that dragon laser touches the purple laser, it instantly dies and it disappears.
Man.
So generally you want to get a lightning sword because at least you can protect yourself with that. Because while the purple laser is being shot, the boss is shooting spread shots left and right and shots that track in on you.
It did look pretty tight, but he just used the 2 bombs and just kind of took them out.
Yep. Stage 5, by the way, is kind of a weird exception to the rank rule. These square industrial things, plus some turrets in the middle of the stage, don't get increased health as you rank up.
Huh.
But that's like, these are the only things in the game that seem to not follow the usual rank rule. So when you're powered down like this with spread, this level's actually kind of tricky. But when you're at full power, it's a breeze. Just a fun fact of the day kind of thing.
Huh. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but yeah, like, you don't even need to dragon laser those turrets normally if you're fully powered up. But the difference between playing this game for score and playing it for survival are 2 entirely different kind of beasts. So Perikles here is purely just playing for survival.
Well, it's playing for core and tail.
Playing at max rank at all times.
Oh shit.
You have to play at highest rank as you can so that you get more points because of how much health like bigger enemies have. So over time, all the tick points you get for hitting them with your shots adds up.
Wow, that's pretty smart.
So yeah, when it comes to the world record for this game, it's taken me years to figure out exactly what needs to be done. But I'm like 95% sure at this point that I know exactly how it has to be done. But the difference between the practicality and the, or doing it on paper versus doing it in actuality are 2 entirely different things. I'll get to that in the second loop, though. Alright, so I've actually been talking quite a lot already. Were there any questions you had anything so far, like, about anything we've seen already?
I mean, most of my questions are actually for later stages since I kind of got involved there when I was practicing the other day.
Oh yeah. Were you playing it for the first time, or had you been playing Trigon already?
Well, because I first popped in a random credit like a few years ago, back when the main version had like severe bullet wobble, couldn't make any progress beyond like stage 2. But then I tried a recent main build. It's like the bullet wobble is like way less apparent, so I'm guessing that the original game probably doesn't have that.
Oh yeah. So there is still some wobbling on the real hardware, but it's definitely toned down. But also, I assume because of the obscurity of this game, there had been a strange issue for years until a recent build I found fixed this issue with arcade emulation, in that when you'd be playing this game on a lot of older builds, for some unexplained reason, the top and bottom of the screens were stretched a little bit. So the top and bottom are cut off a bit more than they're supposed to be.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which is apparent mostly with like the stage 2 waterfall turrets, because you can hit them when they're off screen here, but that's just arcade emulation being weird. This little mid-boss thing here marks one of the few things I would call an impossible checkpoint if you die. Because of the way Trigon works, when you die, you respawn with no bombs. If you die on that thing, you will literally respawn a moments before it, and you can't do anything.
Wow.
You don't get any power-ups, you don't get any bombs. So, if that thing, even at lowest rank, shoots too many things for you to do anything about it.
Wow.
So, if you die on there, it's just GG, you lose pretty much.
Good design.
Yeah, it's a very, very easy boss. You just Dragon Laser, or mid-boss, you just Dragon Laser it and it dies. But one time I died and realized, or learned the hard way, that if you die there, your run's over. Like, I don't care who you are. I mean, if someone can show me a video doing it, powered down, no bombs, no nothing, or like, ideally, after respawning from a checkpoint, like, I'll give you some money. I'm dead serious. And yeah, this boss is pretty cool. It shoots these lightning beams that are impossible to protect yourself from if you are in their path. But since Perikles is playing at lower rank, he kind of just instantly kills bosses. But stage 7 definitely marks the point in the game that's like, you know, things get serious.
Yeah.
It's actually has my favorite track in the game too. It's called No Turning Back.
The music's not bad at all.
Yeah, I've always been fond of it. When you've gotten this far in the game though, like, it just really pumps me up every time I hear it.
Yeah, I think this stage is the one that like just stopped any progress.
Yeah,
So there's that one boss that just pops out, and then I didn't even realize like it has these spike plates that just pop out from behind.
yeah, there are definitely a few things in this stage that are like there to ruin your run, pretty much, if you're not aware of them at all.
I think you'll see it in a second.
Oh yeah, and just because it has been a while, I would like to remind people that Perikles has carried over the exploit all the way from stage 1 and is still firing more spread shots than he's supposed to be. And he has still got his 2 lightning swords from the very beginning of the game.
Could you explain that exploit again? I didn't catch that earlier.
So normally a spread gun can only shoot 3 bullets at a time.
Yeah.
But if you pick up a Vulcan and switch to spread while there's a lot of Vulcan shots still on the screen, the number of spread bullets that come out will actually be the number of Vulcan bullets that would come out normally at that time.
Ah, okay. So he's using this like a low powered spread right now.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And being at a
Gotcha.
lower power keeps the rank lower. So in turn, things die faster.
So can you lose the exploit from doing something besides dying? Or if dying does it?
It's funny you mentioned that, actually, because the game forces a cutscene between stage 8 and 9, so you will lose it at some point. If you don't die.
Wow, that's kind of broken.
Yeah, I mean, this probably wasn't intended, because somehow the rate of fire that players are doing with this, I've seen it in a bunch of videos, but I've never known how to do it until Perikles explained this thing to me. Maybe it has something to do with this thing I do, and he was right. So I was just like, what?
What a legend. What a legend.
Nice.
That's really interesting
Wow.
to be able to pick up on that.
It's very strange to explain it, because I've never seen a game where anything like this can happen.
Well, the closest thing I can think of is, like, in some of the cave games, you can, like, just fix your rate of fire by tapping, and so it will, like, you know, moderate the shots on the screen, like, that way. It's the closest thing I can think of, but, I mean, you don't do that to, like, make another weapon more powerful, though.
Yeah.
By switching.
I had 2L'd this a long time ago without even being aware of this, so... I was playing it again earlier and just like, wow, this would have really helped with some checkpoints that are kind of hard to recover from.
It's like, how much more damage do you think you do with it? Like,
it basically doubles your damage.
it's pretty good. It's really good.
Boss easier to kill, I guess.
Yeah, it shoots twice as much, so yeah, it basically doubles the damage.
I'm guessing some of the bosses get harder the longer you fight them. Or is that not true?
Well, sort of, because if you don't kill them fast enough, they'll slowly come to the bottom of the screen. And they'll keep firing.
Yeah. And also, a lot of situations have like popcorn enemies popping in, which...
Yeah, shoutouts to Stage 2 boss for being the first gatekeeper in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a boss rush stage, in case you haven't known yet.
Yeah, I noticed he pretty much macro dodges everything, except occasionally we'll go between a couple bullets like that boss.
Yeah. And it's really important that while you're playing this, to keep track of the turrets on the left and right edges of the screen. Some of them will also have bombs, so in the middle of, like, between bosses, you need to remember which turrets will give you bombs, so that you don't run out. In the midst of chaos of everything happening, though, like, it might be hard to remember where you are, because this whole thing is a fixed alley. So if you memorize it, you can actually know exactly where every bomb will be.
Dude, that dragon damage. So badass.
Yeah.
Yeah, that boss is a pain in the ass to fight normally the second time you do it. Those ring lasers.
Yeah, none of the bosses are really harder in this rush than they are originally, but it's kind of a matter of fact that they just throw everything all at once. Well, given short breaks in between each boss, that you just have to be on your A game still.
Yeah.
Especially the fourth boss, because that thing's kind of janky. This thing. So this is the boss that can kill your dragon laser, which is why Perikles stocked up on lightning swords instead.
So, would he have been trapped there by that laser on the left had he not been bombing? Killed,
The mid-boss stops right before it would go to the very edge of the screen and kill you, but it's shooting other things that would normally trap you, like the purple laser would create a wall and its other bullets would kill you.
Yeah, like the rings that's held on to you.
Yeah, I think that's the only shred of mercy that I've seen from this game, in that the fourth boss will not go to the edge and kill you if you're on the very edge. That's like the nicest thing Konami ever did in this game, probably. They probably stepped back for a moment and were like, okay, maybe this would be a mistake if we did it like this. Yeah, this part's fun. Lots of turrets, lots of bombs that show up. A lot of turrets that pop up only when you're in like certain spots of the screen. So when you're playing for score, you kind of have to hit things quick and hard.
And make a path that will let you get by still, I guess.
Yeah. If you know where the bombs come from, though, you can use them quite liberally. So this isn't too bad, but it is kind of nerve-wracking because if you're not on aware at all times, one of these turrets on the sides can definitely just snipe you and just they can just kind of point blank you and just go.
Oh shit!
Oh god!
Yeah, like that. If you're not close enough to them, they will shoot you. You have to basically be on top of a turret for it to not shoot you. But yeah, Perikles died, unfortunately. No bomb, no power-up weapon, no Trigon.
Oh, I've got a question. What's the max number of bombs you can hold?
6.
Okay.
So if you try to pick up any more bombs after that, nothing happens. So if you're ever in that situation where you do have 6 and there's a 7th bomb, you always want to use a bomb just because it's free at that point.
Game really does give you a lot of bombs, huh?
Yeah.
I like
It
that
does.
though, because the dragon's really cool to see, and that sword is also pretty cool.
Yeah. It goes against like a lot of shmup. This game goes against a lot of shmup norms, like I had said before too. Like the number of bombs you get, the fact that there's not a real penalty for bombing either, are a couple of things about that point. It's not like Dodonpachi where you have these cool bombs that you can't use or your score's dead.
Shit, my mic got just DC'd. I'm back.
Oh, I see.
I had a question. Do you ever use the fire dragon and like it doesn't go where you want it to go, and then you die because it doesn't block a bullet?
Yeah.
Because it seems like it's kind of like it's not random where the fire dragon's going, but it seems like it's kind of wild.
Yeah. So the dragon follows a short fixed path when you launch it.
Mm-hmm.
It'll wrap around you and then go upright.
Oh.
But if there's multiple enemies on screen, once it's done with the upright portion, it just has a mind of its own. So yes, definitely there
Really?
are times when
Ooh.
oh yeah, if you die on that part, you're run-ins too.
Damn,
by the way.
that looked dicey.
Yeah. Like, this is the other impossible checkpoint, especially in
Whoa.
the second loop.
It's like turn all sun strikers.
Yep. These teleporting ships will appear when you get close enough to them. So the plan is to go up the screen a bit, have a bunch appear, and then back away. If you sit at the bottom, then you're going to set up a situation you're going to die and your run's going to end because you're going to have a really bad checkpoint.
Ooh, that dodge.
Yeah, this is pretty intense difficulty ramp. It looks
Yeah. And followed by what's probably the worst enemy in the game coming up.
Oh yeah. Every skin stage 4 boss, but now it's mid-boss double lasers.
Yeah.
like this music sounds so Contra-like.
Oh yeah, I could see that, but that shouldn't be a surprise though because it's Konami. And unlike the mid bosses that we've seen before with the same kind of type of attack, instead of a single pink laser, this boss has dual lasers. So if you are on the edge of the screen trying to sit and cheese with a lightning sword, it kills you.
Yeah.
So it's one last giant middle finger in case that you've relied on that too much.
Oh,
But
man,
once you get past that, you're like good to go.
Yeah. Once you kill that thing, though, it's basically you're basically home free. Just don't play really badly. Because for whatever reason, the final boss is kind of a joke. Even if you spawn on the final checkpoint, you still get at least 2 bombs. So,
Yeah, second.
yeah. I don't think we're even going to see any of the attacks from the final boss in either loop.
So did he reset up the exploit now at this point?
He actually, I didn't mention it, but he did earlier already.
Oh,
picking up a Vulcan and going to spread.
Okay, yeah, looks like it anyway.
So yeah, I did forget to mention, you can reset it up by doing that. He had a Vulcan from stage 8 and picked up a spread from stage 9.
Oh,
It'd be a good backup to learn, for sure.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And
Wrecked.
the boss is dead. Yeah.
Damn, wrecked.
God.
It's actually a pretty difficult, unpredictable boss otherwise. That head is supposed to be the final boss. If you don't speed kill it, a bunch of armor plates surround the core and form a dragon's head.
Oh man, that's interesting. That you can kill it before then.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that you can, like, because the boss is pretty hard. It has only 2 attacks with like a weak homing, like it shoots teeth at you that home in you, but you can destroy them. And then it has this armor purge attack where it launches all of its armor at you, and I couldn't tell you any predictable way to do anything about it. It's just horrifying and huge misdirecting and just pray, pretty much.
Yeah.
But there's a small little credit reel here when you beat the first loop and the second loop. But it's a nice little chance to take a quick breather. I really like the music too. And just
Konami. Dragon Laser. Why does he say it there?
Konami building at the bottom.
They want to tell you.
Oh fuck! Oh shit! Yes, it's the legs. The legs logo.
Yeah.
I call it. It's the legs logo.
Lags?
Dude, bring legs because it looks like legs.
Oh, I need to look at it. So you can immediately tell, like, already that the turrets are shooting way more frequently, by the way.
Yeah, in some of the Konami games, that logo will like walk around. So, yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I think Gradius 4 has it.
I can't remember if it did. But yeah.
What? Yeah.
That logo's the best. So yeah, second loop here.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that it's a overwhelming increase in difficulty like a cave game, but it's noticeable.
Bullets are faster. Our enemies firing at a faster rate as well.
Yep.
Okay, it's legit.
Yeah, it's legit until you start trying to play for a score, and you have to increase your spread weapon all the way up. And then it's absolutely, truly horrifying.
Score run sounds really fucking annoying.
Yeah.
No.
I am actually going to try again soon to start going for the world record score because I think I understand how to do it.
Wow. That's
the
epic.
most unfortunate thing, unfortunately, is that it requires luck. There's RNG involved, and factors outside of anyone's control can kind of prevent you from getting that score. This boss is actually pretty...
Wow.
It's a step up.
Those
So
bullets
it's
were
like-
really fast.
Yeah, like, that's like a... You just want to bomb it. But when you see it again in stage 2-7, it is legitimately a very scary boss.
Yeah, that's a nice waterfall, by the way. Someone did comment about that in the chat.
Yeah. I should say 2-8 about that boss. Oh my god!
Ooh.
Too slow.
Just got rammed.
Oh, did he get rammed? Oh man, that's the worst.
Oh yeah. Oh, I thought a bullet hit him, but there are also times where the enemies will fly pretty close to you and kind of cut you off, and you might run into them too.
It's okay, this music is like super uplifting. You can do it.
Yeah. I like this track a lot. I think this is like my second favorite track in the game.
It's really good. Oh man, that water behind the trees. Man, that's awesome.
Just constantly flowing.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like it's not really a big deal, but it does look pretty nice, I think.
Yeah. There, like I mentioned earlier, like, you know, the start of this is that as obscure as this game is, it does have some nice stuff to it.
Yeah, I really like the presentation. It's a little like kind of blandish looking, but it's not bad. It's not bad.
Right. Like, there is one thing I will say about like the weapons and some of the presentation. The game at a glance looks more plain in color. Like, there's a lot of gray. Like, your ship's gray, your weapons are gray. A lot of the enemies are a gray variant. Unlike Raiden, which is more colorful, and I don't know.
Yeah, it still got some color, I mean.
It's probably also
yeah.
like Brian's got this explosion effects.
Yeah.
Whereas like here, a lot of the effects I noticed were like FM based.
I always did wonder, though, at the time this game came out, was Raiden like a thing that was on the, you know, coming soon? Did people know of it or see screenshots of that? Because I've always wondered.
I know there were like location tests probably around that time. So I think they probably did. It's just when it came to popularity, it was like it wasn't immediately successful. I think it took some time before it got like.
I can't help but think of the Batrider first Manhattan stage when I see these highways.
Oh, huh. Yeah.
Just the double lane, just the double lane thing. I think is what's triggering me. Triggered.
Yeah.
Macro
It's pretty. This game has a pretty interesting way of handling, like, when you kill a boss ridiculously quickly. There are enemies to fill in gaps because the game never stops moving until you get to the end of stage 8. The screen never stops moving or scrolling, minus letting you spawn in again after dying. So, when you kill a boss super quickly, it has enemies programmed to fill in the gaps when the next stage starts, basically. Which is, to me, it's kind of interesting. They thought of a lot of random scenarios so that nothing really kind of broke the game in any way.
That's nice.
Yeah. Now that we are deeper into the game, though, there are a couple of points I don't think I've talked about yet where you probably haven't, or you probably don't remember, but that bomb right there, when Perikles got to it in the first loop, it was actually a point pickup. But it's a bomb there. Whenever you have no bombs or one bomb, some point pickups will be bombs instead.
Wow, nice. I like that.
So this is why playing for score is even more brutal. Because if you die, you'll lose the 5,730 points associated with that point pickup.
Oh. Huh.
So good for survival, even more brutal for score.
Do you get a lot of points for like the boss kills, or like kind of what's the weight on the points in the game? Would you say?
So all the enemies in this game, boss parts, bosses, they do give you a certain number of points.
We see the tick points going on right now.
Yeah. The final boss is definitely worth the most points, though, out of anything.
How much?
So when you kill the final boss, it straight up gives you 100,000 points. Yeah, 100,000 points. And there's a way you can actually double KO on it consistently.
Oh wow, that's pretty neat.
So when you're playing this game for score, the game plan is to play at max rank, get all the way to the final boss without dying, but get it to like little health, use a lightning sword, die, and then the lightning sword kills it posthumously after your death, before the checkpoint loads. And then you load at a checkpoint that gives you space to get 2 more bombs, and you repeat until you're on your last 5. Then you get to play the entire second loop with no spare lives.
Jesus.
Yep. So there's another. Well, speaking of the, remember when I was talking about earlier when playing for score and going for world record, that good stuff. That there are factors outside of the player's control that may just give you the middle finger.
Those penguins. Sorry, I guess I got a comment.
Oh yeah.
About that. They were doing like a freaking running slide and everything. Penguins are having more fun than you.
The penguins do not know the hell that is Loop 2. But what I was saying earlier with the things out of your control.
Yeah, sorry.
This game does. Oh, it's okay. I didn't like. I've seen the penguin thing a whole bunch, and I'm just so used to it. I didn't think about calling it out.
Yeah.
But, the whole thing I keep saying with things out of control, when you have no lives left, sometimes planes that normally give you 1,000 points for destroying the formation, or planes that would give you a power-up when you destroy them, some of them will randomly become gold planes that'll give you a 1-up instead.
Whoa.
And it's
Damn,
completely,
dude.
it can be any of them, but it's completely random if any of them ever become gold planes or not.
Damn. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, unfortunately, it sets a pretty bad precedent for trying to play this game for a world record score, because you have to figure out, well, you have to pray you get any extends at any point, and then you have to figure out which enemies to double KO on for the most value. And die again, and then hopefully you get another 1-up again later on, and repeat until hopefully everything works out and you have an extend on the final boss to use and kill it twice.
So that's kind of what you meant by the RNG, is getting those 1-ups.
Yeah. The closest I had ever gotten to this game in like testing, and when I say testing, I'm talking like not playing runs for real, but being invincible and testing the game out, making sure I don't miss any enemies. The best that I was able to get before learning about the 1-up exploit stuff was 80,000 short of the world record.
It's pretty close.
So, yeah. So, if, or maybe it was 1.8 million. Yeah, 1.8 million behind the world record.
Oh, well then that's a lot.
Yeah, oh wait. No, hold on a minute.
Because we're at 1.2 million right now.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. I'm dumb. It was 90,000.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Wait. Damn it. No, okay. What? I definitely have it. 180,000.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense too.
Yeah, so because I had basically planned out a run where I had suicide all my lives on the final boss, get to the end of the final boss again on the second loop with the spare life that I got from a random 1-up, and do that thing again, and then finish the game. And I was 80k short.
So you basically need another 1-up in order to do it.
So here poses the interesting problem, though. I don't know if you can get a 1-up on a check. Like, I think when you load a checkpoint, you can't get a 1-up until you've progressed enough.
Oh, I see.
I don't believe that the next 1 or 2 plane formations can give you one. So when you get to the final checkpoint, you're not getting another 1-up. I've tried to test it a lot, and it never happened. So I'm pretty sure you can't get a 1-up until you progress past the current checkpoint you just loaded.
Oh, backward snipers. Watch out.
Yep. Heard this.
Yeah. This stage, the stage becomes a real nightmare if you ever die because of that.
Those guys are firing so fast you get lured around. Interesting.
Yeah. you definitely don't want to die, because the Trigon can help with the enemies behind you.
Well, yeah, from what it sounds like, they really gave some thought for score running the game.
I wonder, because there are some things that are really kind of cheeky, like the rank.
Yeah, that was making it seem like it was kind of jank, but the more, yeah, even mentioning all this other stuff, it seems like they kind of thought about it. I don't know if it's all for survival, but I don't know. It's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, it's unfortunate that the one-up thing has to be a thing, though.
Konami's always had a problem with that. Like, ZX has that thing where it's like random one-ups too. So.
Oh.
Well, pseudo random. I think Sick Riken
Is it?
eventually like picked up the one-up on a certain frame or something
Really?
to manipulate it.
Did not even know.
Yeah, that was a thing.
This is actually the only vertical shmup I can think of that Konami's done.
Twin B.
Twin B? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. They definitely stick closely to horizontal games, though.
Yeah.
Well, they also did Ajax as well. But that's like more of a hybrid.
Yeah.
And there's also Flak Attack. But that again is like not really traditional.
Were all of those before Trigon?
Yeah. Both of them are 87.
So I wonder if... Was there anything after this that was a vertical game from them?
Not that I believe.
Makes me wonder.
Like, the only thing I could think of is like Toby Polystars, which is like an early like 3D title they did in 97. But that kind of switches perspectives, so...
Yeah, it just dawns on me that once Raiden destroyed this game in the arcades, I don't think they ventured into vertical shooting very much anymore.
No, they didn't.
That was probably a pretty big blow.
Yeah. Because they definitely stick to like Salamander changes, but that was before this too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just the companies make these cost decisions where it's like they think they're better horizontal, then they like stuck to that. Whereas like in Toe Plan's case, they're all like, after Zero Wing, we suck at horizontal, so we're only gonna make verticals from here on out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Total Plan Warriors are... I don't know.
There's what? Hellfire, Zero Wing.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, that explains a lot. Yeah. Zero Wing. Well, has there been a Zero Wing episode yet?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Oh, jeez.
That'd be epic.
There's probably a lot of hilarity that would surround that game.
Yeah.
Level warps, random power-ups, 10-ups, so it'll be a good time.
Yeah.
There's a 10-up?
Yes.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I got a 10-up the first time I played and didn't know what I did. And asked people, and they're like, oh, you just got lucky, sorry.
Yeah.
Aw.
I think Perikles almost 2 off that one as well.
Dude, that dragon.
Yeah.
That dragon needs to get paid.
The dragon is pretty amazing, though. That's probably the one standout thing most people would remember about this game.
Yeah,
But,
it's even in like the logo. I like it.
Now, Perikles is at the final home stretch, though. He's at 2-7, no bombs left. If he dies right now, like, it's not impossible, but it would be very problematic. Because the part coming up is a pretty hard checkpoint to recover from. Because of the red ships that come up in a bit.
Yeah, the ones that shoot out the missiles.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Also, there's the risk that these power-ups can disrupt your game plan.
Again, your path and shit.
Yeah. It's a very easy way to set up the exploit, but it's still kind of tricky with how the enemies are firing more frequently in the second loop.
I see.
I think I noticed Perikles hugged the wall when he was going up the top right to like slow his movement down a little bit. Is that a thing in this game?
I don't.
Maybe not looked into that. Kind of looked like that's what he was doing.
There's a weird thing in this game where you can like, the screen doesn't scroll perfectly when you go left to right. So if you hug a wall, you can still go a bit into this wall and scroll the screen that way a bit, if that makes any sense. It's
Like it keeps scrolling when you're at the edge.
Yeah,
I guess.
you can like press into the wall and it'll still scroll for a little bit.
So it doesn't keep up all the time.
Yeah.
Kind of what you're saying, I think.
Very strange to explain. Much easier to understand when like playing it for real, though.
Is there a graphical glitch here? Like what? Like this looks kind of weird with like this stuff just over this background.
Oh no, I don't believe it is. I think it's just.
What is it supposed to be? Like a glass surface? I don't get it.
It's supposed to be. Well, remember the cutscene that plays in the demo or the attract reel, the ship that crashes into the planet.
No, I don't remember.
Oh, well, like in the attract reel, there's a black ship. Yeah. So yeah, that ship that crashes in the attract reel onto the Earth is that ship in Stage 7.
Huh.
I guess that does make sense. Okay, 2.
Yeah, there's a lot of symbols like that you see in Stage 7 that are like from that ship. So it's just
It's a big ass ship.
Yeah, the plot's not really explained anywhere as far as I can tell, so I can't say much more than that.
Yeah.
Dude, the dunes. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. Be in the desert.
Dunes are the unappreciated, underrated shmup background. IMO. I mean, probably because it's the same color of like yellow bullets. It's like maybe not the best one to have.
It just depends. Like there's some games where it blends in.
I always like the Ride Fighters 2 stage with a huge train, or not train, but it's like a huge fucking battle tank, I guess, in the desert.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
That's such an epic stage.
Yeah, it really is nice.
Dude, those orchestral hits, they won't stop. I love it.
Yeah.
Whew, yeah. So there's not much left in Perikles replay here. But I think we've pretty much covered everything that we could mention.
Nice. Seems like a pretty fun game, honestly. When you break it down, when we break it down like this, anyway.
Yeah, it has some oddities to it that are not apparent to the surface for anyone who's just picking it up.
Yeah, so this episode should be great for people.
Yeah. It should definitely be an eye-opener for anyone who's, like, looked at this game or wanted to know more about it. When you play it for survival like Perikles is, it's still challenging, but it's not, like, the worst, most difficult thing on the planet.
Yeah, it definitely looks doable.
Yeah. Playing for score, on the other hand,
But then
there's
again,
a
it's
reason.
Perikles playing.
Yeah. There's a reason you don't find any YouTube videos of this playing for score. The last time I saw anyone try, they randomly hit something in 2-3 and rage quit. Like, they were doing everything perfectly, but they didn't get any 1-ups in the second loop yet. But then something just hit them in 2-3, they made one mistake, and that's the end of the run.
Is this on a Twitch stream or something?
Oh, no, it's actually, it was a Japanese, or a video in Japanese that's on YouTube. I don't know how I found it, but...
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So how much harder is this boss rush in Loop 2 compared to Loop 1?
The first boss is actually the most ramped up boss, so other than the first boss, most of them aren't that bad because as long as you like know where the bombs are on these turrets on the side.
Okay.
Because if you know what you're doing, you should never run out of bombs. You should always have at least one or maybe two more going into the next boss. But the first boss is definitely like hardly manageable even with bombs. Like it's basically you just spam bomb and don't stop till it's dead.
Dang.
The guy question.
Awful.
Got a question. What is the world record score?
So
you know?
the score posted in Arcadia is 2.98 million. So I think that I don't know if Perikles will even hit 2 million on this replay or not.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot of extra points.
I think this one hits about 1.8 at the end.
Yeah. The tick points you get playing at max rank definitely add up over time.
Huh. That's cool.
Just like zipping across the screen.
So good.
Even no fucks.
Like, what's better, the fire dragon or the toothpaste laser from Raiden 2? Like, that would be a good Game Packs battle.
Yeah, the lightning sword only has one very specific use in this game to deal with that boss that can shoot a laser at you and kill your dragons.
You killed my dragon.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if like your dragon gets killed and then like you get like powered up in anger or something. Like temporarily.
Oh yeah.
I like the dragon.
Yeah. It's
Like,
definitely
who
good.
is he?
The dragon can also be kind of problematic though. Like, even on this boss, I've been kind of screwed out before. Like,
Wow.
because there's so many pods, sometimes the dragon will run loop around the boss's head and not hit the head.
Yeah, that was looking kind of iffy. Nice, dude.
Huh.
So when you're playing at max rank, the troubles become much more apparent.
The dragon. Oh, I missed that cutscene before. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Was that the dragon that you used, or is that a different one?
It looks like it. I never did figure out what was going on in that cutscene. Especially because, oh my god!
Whoa,
dude, that
was too
dodge.
close. Too close.
If he died there, he wouldn't be able to clear.
That was ridiculous. Oh, man, those patterns.
Yeah, when there's a lot of teleporting ships, it may look kind of like awful, but they just shoot a three-way spread. The middle bullet's directly at you, and the other two are just offside.
Yeah, kind of tap
look at the
dodge
bullets
it.
in the tanks at this point.
Yep. Know your angles, people.
Yeah.
There's points in the stage where if you stop moving, like with the tanks coming out on the sides, you're going to get hit. Like, you have just enough speed to avoid stuff sometimes. Oh, it's scary.
We got another question. Why do you get 1,000 points from killing some waves of enemies but not others?
For some random reason, they have these blue ships that come in, and when you destroy them, they just give you 1,000 points. Like, that's it.
It's just the blue waves.
Yeah, the blue ships that look like the ones that would give you power-ups. But it's very strange, but they're just there for that specific reason.
Yeah, that teleport effect on the enemies is really neat. I like that. Kind of makes the whole stage feel a bit more cohesive with like the futuristic feel. I'm getting that vibe. It's really nice. Whoa.
That's popular.
Yeah.
Let's be aggressive.
Perikles is out for blood at this point.
Got the lava reactor or something down there.
Yeah. all in the volcano. They just built a lab or whatever this is.
Let's build our base on a volcano. Good idea. But what happens if it erupts? We'll think about that later.
We'll build a new base and another volcano.
Yeah. We'll build a new base from the eruption. The molten rock.
Yeah.
One would make me wonder. Oh, it makes me kind of wonder what they would have done if this game was actually like really successful. But alas,
The fire dragon would be back for sure.
Yeah.
What if you in the next game like you could be the fire dragon,
Dude.
That'd actually be kind of neat.
and then you summon the ship instead as a bomb?
Isn't there an enemy in one of the Gradius games where you are fighting the dragon?
Oh, you mean the salamander? It's in multiple Gradius games, I believe, isn't it?
I think so. I'm starting to get flashbacks where you do see the fire dragon in one of the Gradius games somewhere.
Like, you got the Gradius 2 opening stage with those, and then you have that one where it's like in Gradius 3, it's like
Yeah, you know what?
three-headed dragon.
That's probably a reference to the Trigon dragon, right?
I think Gradius 3 came before Trigon, though.
Yes, it came out in '89.
Unless it was like they were trying to do a first draft of it or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The
I think
Konami-
they probably just really like the fire dragon. I mean, I'm cool with that. Doesn't really matter which came first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will agree with that.
Dude, the first few notes of the ending song kind of made me think of the final countdown.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, that was a good run. Really good run. Good stuff
Yeah,
to Perikles.
there's definitely a few dangerous moments at the end. It's pretty scary.
Yeah.
It's a good theme.
Dragon Laser.
Dragon Laser. It's not the name of the game. Why?
So, as far as I can tell, that actually appears to be an emulation issue.
Really?
Because on the actual hardware, there's no Dragon Laser random noise at the end.
Huh. That's weird.
Very weird. I can't explain it. Also, when you put in a coin, you normally hear Dragon Laser, but it doesn't do that on the real hardware.
Oh, there's the ship crashing into the... Yep, okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So,
All right.
yeah, there's the end of that.
All right. Now,
Do we want to look at some of the other footage?
Trigon. 1P
Yeah.
and 2P.
So, which part should we look at? I was thinking just like the last 3 stages of Loop 2 or something.
Okay, so if you want to do that, the timestamp will be 1636. Yeah, 1636.
Yep.
On part 2?
Yeah,
Alright.
360p.
So we talked about the differences between Trigon and Lightning Fighters about an hour ago, and when you play co-op, they are exactly identical between Trigon and Lightning Fighters. So when you play co-op, obviously there's no checkpoints, but you will bomb or you'll spawn with a lightning sword, even if you were like playing co-op on Trigon, which is just weird because single player doesn't give you anything when you respawn.
Okay.
Huh.
Is there any difficulty differences for co-op?
Yeah. Konami always had their way of changing the US version of games for no apparent reason. Very strangely. Like, no Trigon in the single player of Lightning Fighters was one of them. But the one that always bugged me the most was when they touched Thundercross. You'd get only one weapon type, and you'd have bombs called little babies.
Okay.
But the US version had the suicide bomber things that are so awful to dodge. It's borderline unfair. And you can't adjust your pods at all in the US version. Because
Man.
normally you have a pod button that lets you spread them out or bring them closer.
Yeah, what's going on with that, man? They were drunk.
Konami didn't like the US side of things at all. They just gave us shafted versions of their games, and I never understood why.
It's like some dark stuff.
Yeah.
All right, let's watch this bit of two-player footage. We'll watch the rest of the video. How about, does that sound good?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we don't need to watch like the entire replay again. Just like the last 3 stages, I guess.
Yep, so we watched on the last 2 stages of a co-op run, and the players are, I don't know if the translation was perfect, but Choudaro and Mon, I think is the players, so.
Okay.
I use Google Translate on the names, so.
I see.
Mon
Yeah,
sounds familiar, but yeah, because I think those are that's probably not the same Mon, because I think last week,
Yeah.
what?
Wasn't Mon the guy who did Death Label and Diojo?
The name sounds familiar for sure.
Yeah. Maybe it's a different Mon. Well, it could also be the same one. I don't know.
Yeah. In any case, we'll roll with it. So yeah, I'll do the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Alright,
So-
thrilling gameplay.
Yeah. I don't believe that they show it in this replay, but when you play with co-op, on top of all the other things we've seen already, there is a extra weapon. Well, the Trigon weapon and 3 other types of weapons will place itself between player 1 and player 2. And depending on the weapon that you have as your pod, they all act differently.
That's pretty neat. I like that.
So I'm trying to think. There's a Trigon which homes like the one we're used to seeing. There's a pod that shoots forward and backward at the same time. There's a laser pod that only shoots forward, and then there's like a napalm or a explosion pod that also shoots like forward. But notice how the Trigon's kind of like pointing off to the side when it's not trying to track an enemy. The 2 players have to aim their pods. They have to work together to aim the pod a specific direction. So if they have a laser pod, for example, and they want to aim it to the right, either player 1 needs to go up and to the left, or player 2 needs to go down and to the right of it.
Interesting. That really does lead like a whole new meaning to cooperative.
Yeah, there aren't a lot of instances where co-op and shmups really work too well, in my opinion, in terms of like they don't add things most of the time.
Yeah.
But, this game has that little thing going for it, which I always found kind of interesting. And this is like one of the only footages I could find of a 2-all co-op. Even though both of the players are pretty much on life support at this point. Because if they die, obviously the Trigon is lost. You have to wait for another one to appear.
It's always tough in co-op runs and shmups because it's always there's uncertainty about where they're targeting, who's getting targeted.
Yeah, that's true.
That's always a challenge. I wonder if like one of the guys here like takes points so that he gets the bullets at him, or what their plan was, if they had a plan.
Yeah.
Because that gets so rough in some of the cave games in particular.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to play like Futari co-op is like kind of ridiculous. No matter what mode.
I've always wondered, like, how did the games handle, like, all that extra firepower on screen at once?
I think they have it, usually. I know in Futari, I think they have your firepower.
Oh, right. They kind of do the same thing in Daifukatsu. There's definitely, like, a shot limit that's shown. and the laser sort of flickers, I think, to help with like performance, I would suppose.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
I think they both make it alive to the end.
Yes, they do.
But player 2 has no spare lives right now, so this is like this boss is terrible.
So
and keep
fast.
in mind that the entire ship is your hitbox. So while the patterns don't really look intimidating compared to like things we're used to seeing,
The hitbox is like pretty.
the hitbox is so massive that like if you get scraped, you're dead.
Yeah. And actually, now that I think about it, the hitbox might not actually be the entire ship, but like a big rectangle that's like oriented vertically.
Like a rectangle?
Like the smaller side being at the top.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is close.
Just based on some of the dodges I've seen.
Yeah. It's kind of a miracle that you can just sit in the middle of that boss
That's classic.
by doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to bomb basically to get in there safely, because the popcorn enemies that show up beforehand would kill you, but still, like, yeah. It's definitely helpful.
That's what said the dragon sounds like a rooster.
Now I'm just imagining, like, I need somebody to do a rooster video and just dub the dragon sound over it when it's like doing a wake-up call.
Seems good.
I didn't realize how much I needed this until right now.
Maybe they did go to a farm and record the chickens and that sound. Wouldn't be really surprising.
I'm wondering. That's interesting now. Yeah, how they make the sounds.
It does sound like a rooster.
But I could see that, quite honestly.
Purple laser.
Oh my god.
The all-destroying purple laser, except for the blue.
Purple.
The scrolling looks kind of interesting
Yeah, it
and
does.
co-op.
It looks like they're doing like a little tug-of-war thing. Like the screen looks like it's scrolling even slower. Honestly. Like, I was just thinking that, but I wasn't sure, like, how to say it. It looks like the player has to put in extra work to get the screen to move or something. But to be honest, I could see the reason behind that, because if the screen moved too quickly, then it might throw the other player off.
Well, that's what happens in cave games, I think. Like,
yeah.
the scrolling is kind of like... One guy will be on one side of the screen, then when the other guy, if he's really fast and he moves over, like the scrolling goes fast as well. I think I've noticed that, and it's like it's pretty damn jarring. But it looks like since the ships move slow enough in this, I don't know. It's not like the scrolling's matching the ship speed, but it is a pretty slow scroll, and that probably might explain why you talked about earlier how the screen sometimes doesn't catch up to you. It is pretty slow.
Yeah, it looks like it's even slower in co-op.
Okay.
I could see why they would do that now, though. I never thought about it, but thinking about it now.
The hit and run! Dude, the hit and run. They really made the dragon satisfying to see and whatnot. I love it. The hit and run.
I'm so scared for player 2 right now.
Yeah. Drive-by dragoning.
Drive-by dragoning.
It's some medieval madness right there. Oh! Unleashed it again. Who let the dogs out? Too good. Can you get hit by the flames when he comes down like that? It looks like it's just not close enough.
Oh yeah. It's a battle against time because the longer time goes on, he inches a little closer to you each time. So yes.
Eventually it'll hit you.
Oh,
Yeah.
neat.
You can basically use the music as a cue for like how much time you have before you have to like go out of your way to deliberately like be on a very edge to avoid it. But somebody is asking just earlier, where was it? Does the option track or do the players control it? So there are 4 different kinds of pods in co-op. And when they have the Trigon, it's like the one we saw earlier in Perikles replay where it just auto-tracks. So it's not as strong as the other ones, but I can definitely see, like, for this, why they just want to stick to a Trigon, because it's easier to manage, because with the other weapons, you have to manually aim them, which requires both players to be positioned for it.
Yeah.
Like, if player 2's on the left side and player 1's on the right side, 2 of the weapons shoot backwards. Like, where most of the game does not have enemies coming from behind you. But the Trigon will always home in regardless. I don't know the other names of the other pods, because I haven't heard them enough. But they all have their own names, which the little announcer dude says when you pick them up.
Yeah.
I think this one's called, in co-op, he calls it this one the Hunting Trigon. But none of the others I recall at all.
Dragon laser.
That announcer must be the same guy from like Gradius 2. Sounds like the same dude.
Probably.
Yeah, I was gonna say they may have just used the same guy's voice or something, like leftover clips or something like that.
Yeah.
Just to have them record a bunch of stuff they might use in future games.
Yeah.
You sound so lame though. Sounds like this guy like who plays this Amiga in like a sweater, like a Christmas sweater.
Man, harsh.
That was a pretty severe burn, I would say.
It's gonna need some ice to cool that one
It's
off.
the only Amiga guy. Go look at the video of the guy singing like this Amiga song.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, Commodore, Amiga, all those were before my time, actually, so I can't relate to any of those.
Except when you play Trigon and hear this guy. Damn, that dragon.
Dragon's the real MVP.
Seriously.
Yeah, for real. If it weren't for the dragon, none of this would be possible, to be perfectly honest with you.
Well, I like how the focal point is just like killing stuff quickly. Like that's pretty simple and straightforward to understand. But it's a matter of like doing it, I guess.
Blank.
Yeah.
Nice point blank.
Yeah, it is a shame we never get to see what the final boss does, though.
Ah, my home,
Yeah.
my home. Ah.
And they barfs out some flame trails.
If only you gave me a chance to fight back.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. Alright, well, GG there, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gee.
That had to have been a satisfying run to do.
Oh yeah, I've always wondered how that would feel, because these 2 guys did play for an hour to do it.
Probably just 2 guys who played Trigon, like, hey, let's play Trigon together.
Yeah, or how frustrating it would be if one of them died near the end, like completely.
Yeah. That wouldn't be a good ending, would it?
No.
No. Be like, come on, dude. You let us down.
You let me down, man.
Sorry,
we can't
man.
upload this now, it's not 1cc.
I blame the hitbox.
You ruined the 1cc.
Actually, this just occurred to me, but if 2 players start in Trigon, here's the thing I just realized this, but when you start a game, you're either one players or two players. And if there's one player starting the game, the second player cannot join in until the first game is over. So the game either starts as one player only or both players. If one player continues to play after the second player is dead, then for all intents and purposes, the game is treated like it is Lightning Fighters. So when one player dies, checkpoints do not suddenly come back, and you will keep spawning with a laser sword or a lightning sword.
Oh man, are they too cool to put their initials? I hate when people do this.
They
did. They're too cool, man. Too cool. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that hard.
We just want to know your initials.
Like, it would help, because then I could have maybe picked out who was who. In the replay, I wasn't sure who was who.
Yeah.
Oh, it has like a roar in the title screen. Sweet. That's sweet. Alright, that's Trigon. Pretty sweet.
Oh, yeah. So that's pretty much everything as far as I can tell.
Yeah, good stuff, good stuff. That was fun to check out.
Yep.
Alright, well, this was a sweet episode. 130 on Trigon. Always good to have you again, Emuser.
Oh, yeah.
Always
Thanks for having
informative.
me on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Oh, sweet! In the demo, like you can see the laser on the co-op. That looks really sweet, actually.
Yeah. On
That looks tough though.
In part 1 of that video, actually, they do cycle through all the Trigon weapons or all the pod weapons.
I see. So yeah, if you like Raiden, I mean, try out Trigon. I mean, give it a little look or try out, and then we'll go watch the anime Trigon after you're done playing.
I've never seen that, actually.
Yeah, me neither. I was thinking of opening up the episode with like the Trigun anime opening because it's like pretty cool, but sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, actually, it's probably okay that you didn't. It may have been involved with some copyright issues.
Yeah,
later on.
I was kind of worried about that too.
Yeah, because I remember when I was streaming Dangun Fever on years back, I streamed. I was playing some like pre-game music, like Redbone, "Come Get Your Love," and then my whole stream got muted for like half an hour.
Yeah, it happens.
So I was just like, "Oh, can't use this."
Do you think it's a coincidence that the logo looks like the Top Gun logo?
No, and
No.
no, I really don't think that's a coincidence. But like, it makes sense when you're looking at the game in the U.S. because, let me see.
People think Top Gun, and everyone loves the movie Top Gun.
Top
right?
Gun came out 86.
86? Seriously? Damn.
Yeah.
So that's the logo did remind me of it.
Definitely.
I don't know. I don't think that there's any connection between the two, but it just seems like it.
Besides that, they're
I
both like
can't-
plane fighter games. I mean,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
things, anyways.
Yeah, but when you look at the logo, it's just. I think the resemblance is just too much of a coincidence, really.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I
I've
mean,
always
it
thought
makes
that.
sense. I mean, everyone loves, like
Yeah.
I say, everyone loved Top Gun. I'm sure back then, and if they wanted to try to like build on the success or like steal the success of that a little bit,
Yeah.
I wouldn't blame
somehow.
them.
Yeah, somehow. Anyways.
Just to get people to play the game. I mean, yeah, it makes even more sense for the U.S. I mean, I don't know how popular Top Gun was for Japan back then, but
Yeah.
you have to imagine they even have to imagine it was something they watched.
I mean,
Maybe.
it did spur Afterburner after all.
Oh, really?
It was at a
Yes.
time actually when NES covers would have like celebrities on them randomly. Like Metal Gear had what's his face from the Terminator as the guy on the cover, and like a pose from Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator was used on the Contra NES cover.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Makes me kind of
So-
curious about how integrated, the American culture was in Japan back then. That'd be a good thing to research at some point in relation to this.
Yeah.
Just like how all these games are influenced. I mean, obviously, yeah, we've covered like the Contra games in the past, and obviously influenced by Alien. So,
yeah,
it's cool. All right, that's Trigon episode 138. We'll see you next time, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, y'all.
Bye.